Legends, folk tales, and lore are some of the most pervasive elements of British culture, especially what has been preserved and passed down through generations. The beautiful, sprawling landscape conceals its fair share of secrets, and an untold number of mysteries have arisen to the forefront as a result. Many of these mysteries and legends have yet to be solved, be they ancient folk tales or more modern events. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be looking at 3 cases of enduring British mysteries and the stories behind how they came to be. Bigfoot spotted in Cornwall. One of the most enduring mysteries and folktales of all time seems to be that of Bigfoot. The elusive creature has been claimed to be seen in locales from America to Europe, with grainy photographs, dubious artifacts, and word of mouth as the only proof that he was ever there at all. However, a witness from Cornwall claims to have significantly more solid proof because he says that he came face to face with the humanoid Sasquatch 2 decades ago. Although many people have dedicated their lives to searching for clues proving that Bigfoot, also known in the Highlands as Sasquatch, does in fact have a hidden lair somewhere in the rural expanse of the continent, most evidence that has come to light has been debunked. But some of the most compelling evidence that has surfaced thus far has been the testimony of an impartial witness converted into a Bigfoot believer after he experienced a shocking run-in with the creature. The anonymous spotter, who was located in the St. Morgan area near Newquay at the time of the encounter, spoke to a representative of British Wildman Sightings Map. He said that he was in shock by the encounter, which had happened when he was a young man almost 20 years ago, and once he heard about the existence of societies dedicated to collecting evidence of Bigfoot, he was not sure whether to write in with his experience or not. However, he knew that the people involved with the hunt for Bigfoot would want to know about his experience, as he felt sure that he had indeed seen Bigfoot, Wildman, Sasquatch, or whatever else they felt inclined to call it, in the flesh. The man was a young man at the time, working outside of St. Morgan in the woods. He was charged with making cages out of wood for pheasant hunts and was perplexed by the strange noises which sounded like something knocking on wood that frequently echoed around him as he worked. When he asked his boss about the noises, his boss wrote them off as something called woodwoes. Later, he was working in a densely wooded area adjacent to a field at the base of a hill with his boss and other employees. He remembered hearing a wood knock that sounded rather close, and then another one much closer, but as nobody else was bothered, he carried on. However, once his fellow workers left and he was alone in the woods, things began to heat up. I waited on the edge of the forest and I could hear rustling in the bushes, he recounted. I looked but I couldn't see anything, and then I guess my eyes adjusted and began to focus because I saw a face. This face was looking back at me and there were clicks and whistles everywhere. I don't know why, I still wasn't sure what it was. I walked forward to try and have a better view. Then it stood up. I don't know why, but I just felt it was not fully grown. It was a male about 6'5" tall. It was kind of a copper colour and it looked right at me. He then said that it quickly dashed off and was out of sight as soon as he heard the man's colleagues returning in their car. The man was understandably left shaken and shocked and told his co-workers about his encounter, to which one man replied that the sightings were quite common and that the creatures were known as woodwoes in the region. Just leave them be, the man said. And while no concrete evidence of Bigfoot has been discovered, sightings of this nature are taken for granted in the countryside and attributed to woodwoes, meaning that there is definitely something mysterious out there, hidden in the woods. The Buckinghamshire Vampire. The mysterious case of the Buckinghamshire Vampire is an ancient one that has been passed down in English lore for centuries, having originated in the 12th century. As the story goes, a Buckingham man who passed away in 1192 was laid to rest on the eve of Ascension Day. However, the story claims that he rose from his grave the following night and visited his wife while she slept, laying on her until his weight almost suffocated her. After this frightening experience happened 2 nights in a row, the terrified wife asked some trusted friends to stay with her and watch her deceased husband so that they could repel him from her. Sure enough, the vampire returned for the third night in a row, but he was driven away due to the efforts of his wife's friends, who had remained awake for her protection. Leaving his former home, he visited the homes of his brothers who lived nearby and attacked them instead. The brothers then had to stay awake and drive the vampire away, just like the man's wife. The story then says that the vampire quickly turned into a town problem, as he spent the nighttime hours plaguing anyone who slept and forcing vigils to be held in order to protect themselves from the vampire. Soon, he even began venturing from his grave during the daylight, and the town finally decided to consult priests and theologians in order to determine what could be done to rid themselves of this terrifying plague. At their supplication, the townspeople were astonished to learn that they were not the only ones who had been experiencing some encounters. In fact, multiple nearby English towns had also complained of a vampire. As a solution, the bishop wrote an absolution for the man and ordered the townspeople to open his grave and place it in his chest so that he could be absolved of whatever was troubling him and causing him to wander from his final resting place. Once this was done, it was said that the vampire of Buckinghamshire never left his grave again and rested there peacefully for eternity. Although the term vampire did not yet exist in the time of the original story, as it was passed down orally throughout the centuries, many people believe that the man was indeed a vampire. However, since the event happened so long ago, the facts of the case will remain an enduring mystery. The Howden Moor Crash. One of the more enduring modern-day British mysteries is the case of the Howden Moor Crash, which claims that a UFO crashed into the Howden Moors in the Peak District, South Yorkshire, after dark on March 24, 1997, and was subsequently covered up by the government. Emergency personnel received multiple calls alerting them to a possible aircraft crash in the area, after witnesses saw a low-flying object disappear over the horizon and then heard a loud explosion and saw a large flash. Because so many people saw the incident, police suspected that the crash was fairly large and dispatched an incredible number of people to perform search and rescue operations in the area. The RAF even joined in the search, after first assuring police that none of their aircraft had been in the area and none were missing. However, despite such a large scale and thorough search, they never found a single thing, and calls kept coming in from people who came forward saying that they had certainly seen the aircraft and had also seen military jets in the area. Eventually, the search had to be called off as it was apparent that there was nothing to be found, but police continued to ponder the case, considering everything from a drug plane drop-off to a phantom airplane, while still never managing to find out what had really caused the crash. However, in the absence of an official answer, the public came to their own conclusions. A large portion of individuals believed that a UFO had entered the atmosphere and was being pursued by fighter jets belonging to the RAF. During the search and rescue, the RAF was quick to join and impose a 10-mile exclusion zone around the reservoir in the area, and some think that one of the fighter jets crashed into it during the chase, and the RAF was eager to keep people out while they covered their tracks. Because so many people reported seeing fighter jets in the area, which was a region where it was illegal to break the sound barrier, combined with the RAF's insistence that none of their planes were there at the time, many people have been led to assume that something untoward was going on, even if they do not particularly ascribe to the UFO theory. The more reasonable explanation is that the RAF was engaging in a covert operation that they were not willing to come clean about in the wake of such an expensive search and rescue mission. Although the Ministry of Defence has since come forward with their own explanations of the night in an attempt to demystify the occasion, not everyone is willing to accept their version of things and still regard the case as an elusive mystery to be solved. But what do you make of these three stories? Are they myths, or could this be what really happened? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.